My name is Mike Thomas, and with me is Amy Bishop. We just want to take a few moments to share who we are and why we're doing this series, which, by the way, is sponsored by the St. Clair County Speak Youth Coalition, which is funded in part by Region 10 and in partnership with various businesses and nonprofit organizations that are in the Blue Water area. Folks, if you're not familiar, SPEAK stands for Substance Prevention Through Early Action and Knowledge. That's the acronym for that. And this program started out with over 60 people in the community back in the spring of 2019, trying to figure out what we can do to slow down substance use and access to our youth in the area. We've had a pretty substantial issue with young people accessing tobacco, alcohol, marijuana, and other drugs, and we wanted to be a part of that. So Amy and I have actually been on the leadership team with the coalition since its inception, and we want to give you a little bit of an idea about us personally. So for me, as a professional standpoint, I'm a prevention specialist certified through the state of Michigan, and I work for an organization called Impact. Impact actually does a significant amount of work with adult foster care programs, working with adults that cannot take care of themselves. But we also have a prevention department that does things like parenting classes, anger management, domestic violence, and a big focus on substance use. And so my personal position, I've been going into the St. Clair County Intervention Center in the Huron House to do drug classes as well as men's domestic violence classes for over 4 years now. But as a parent, I'm really happy that I can be a part of this program. I have 2 children that are in high school, and I also have a daughter that's in middle school. And my wife is actually an educator within the Port Huron Area School District as well. And so for me, it's important that I can be a part of the change in making sure that all youth in this area stay away from any substance that could potentially cause them harm. And so what I want to do now is turn it over to Amy, have her share a little bit about herself, and then we're going to open up with our first topic. Amy, what about you?
Thanks, Mike. Well, I know that you and I met actually through our
Yep.
prevention work, and I had no idea that anybody else in St. Clair County was a certified prevention specialist. So I was glad to hear that we were, and since then we've had a lot of great things happen.
Absolutely.
We've launched our coalition for the first one of its kind in this county. So I've been so blessed to be a part of that for sure. So personally, I am a mom and a grandma. I actually have older adult children that are in their late 20s, and I also have now a 12-year-old at home. So I have some unique perspectives on maybe even some things, a second chance, if you will, on how to do things differently. And over the years, I've learned so much working with youth. I've worked in various youth groups. I've done years of work with adolescent health. I work in outreach currently, linking people to services. And I also work, I'm a team member on the health education team. So I teach prevention classes, educational programming, whether it's to help kids manage their feelings better or teach them about drug use and preventing it. So I've got that experience there, but I've also got a personal family in mind, and we want our kids to be raised drug free and live the healthiest and happiest life that they can. So it's been interesting. I love what I do, and I think the Speak Coalition aligns with my personal mission. It's been my mantra always in education to make sure that nobody has to say, I just didn't know. My job is to let people know so that they can make educated, healthy decisions and choices for themselves and their families. So.
Thanks, Amy. And we see this program as something that is not just us sharing with you, but an opportunity for you to share with us as well too. So when you look into the comments section on our page, we're going to have some links to our email, which is speak@stclaircounty.org, as well as opportunities to share with us on Instagram, as well as in the comment section below on our Facebook page. And so we want to encourage you to do that as well too. But our first segment is going to be talking about Lock It Up. Okay, Lock It Up is a national campaign to really encourage families to make sure that if any substances are out, that you have them locked up, especially during this holiday season. I don't know if you guys are aware or not, but alcohol is the #1 preventable cause of injury and death for people that are under the age of 21. And let's face it, there's a lot of it that's out during the holiday season. And so what we really want to encourage you folks to do is make sure that if you have alcohol in the house, it's out of hands. With school now being available, online and parents being in and out a lot, it's even more of a necessity. But the holiday season seems to really pick up with excessive drinking. And so we want to make sure that our children are away from the stuff. Amy, like, what are some of your personal thoughts as far as the lockup program?
I really love the lockup program because it reminds us as parents to
Yeah.
lock up not just substances such as alcohol, but it really applies to any other substances of what as well. Pain or other medications, even over-the-counter medications can be dangerous, cold medicines and such. Um, Also, marijuana and edibles, things that can be around your household, and even with visitors coming over more, making sure that they lock it up as well. If we keep our students and youth and kids away from that, if they don't have access to it, they're less likely to use. So I love the lockup message, and I think it's just so, so important. And one thing you said is it's a preventable, you said it's a preventable number one killer and injury cause of our teens. So why not prevent it? And as a mom, I think back to when my kids were toddlers, when they were babies. What was my main job and focus is to keep them from harming and hurting themselves or poisoning themselves. And what did I do as a young mom with young children? I installed cupboard locks.
Right.
I moved different soaps and detergents out of reach. I put baby gates up so they wouldn't fall down the steps. Well, I think we get away from that mindset. And really, we need never to get away from that mindset. Maybe it just changes what that hazard is. And in their teen years, kids are very curious and inquisitive. That helps them learn. It's just natural. But we want to, again, keep them from harming themselves. So locking it up, keeping it out of reach, and away from them. Like you said, our kids are home, remote learning, sometimes unsupervised by us parents. They've got long days, they get into things. So, we lock up our guns and other hazards. These are items that need to be locked up so our kids stay safe.
Right. See, it's this time of year when a lot of people get all kinds of different gifts. And Amy, I know when I was younger, I remember family and friends would get like those little candy canes that had the shots worth of like schnapps or things like that, or just sometimes get big old bottles. I also have family that love the eggnog with a little something else. And I know I've seen children sipping eggnog thinking, oh, what's that? It looks good, not realizing what's in it. And it seems like little things to us, but the truth of the matter is they can be big things down the road. When you look at Michigan's 21 to Buy Not Supply campaign, you can get fined $1,000 and get put in jail for up to 100 days for providing to minors. Okay, the rules are getting much stricter. I mean, I remember back in the day where it was you could go in with a note to go to the store and get cigarettes and things like that. That's not happening anymore. There's a lot of dangers with that, and what seems to be little for you and I might be a big thing for other people. And so that little bit can go a long way. I know that for a lot of people, that first or second time they've tried something can be the difference between making them addicted or not. And for one, it's illegal. I mean, let's face it, it's a crime to give a minor anything under the age of 21, whether it's tobacco, vapes, alcohol, or anything illicit, which comes with even steeper fines. But think about what we're doing to our child's brain when we give them stuff like that. If you guys are not familiar, our brains act on electrochemical messaging systems called neurotransmitters. Okay, every time we do something that our body desires, whether it's eating food, exercising, playing video games, reading a good book, our body will send those messages, especially with dopamine, to let us know this is a good thing. That's how our body knows to keep doing something. These very drugs that we're talking about do the same thing, but they're synthetic and at greater numbers than what our body can naturally produce. So children that are getting access to this stuff, drinking and things like that, they'll get food grade levels or higher and start thinking, you know what, the body's like, yeah, let's do this. So the more we practice these little things, the more and more we do it, the more it becomes habitual. And it can get to the point where a young person whose brains are still developing until they're about 25 years old, not 18, not 21, but 25 years old, that development can be definitely skewed by that to where they think this is a need. And if you've never seen somebody deal with an addiction to the point where they need it to function, it's scary, but that's what happens. And so when I see people giving their children alcohol and other things like that, those are some of the images I think of. And I think back to a party that I went to when I was younger, at 18 years old, where my friend's dad said, you know what, as long as you guys aren't driving and screwing around and having a bad time out there and getting yourself in trouble, you can stay right here and drink. That was the first time I really binge drank, and that set me up for college. And up till about 4 years ago, I had a binge drinking issue. And I really think that's where it started, is early on having people around me that encouraged that at a young age. And so my advice to parents out there, lock your stuff up. Don't give it to kids. A little bit can be a big problem for you down the road, criminally, or who wants to be that parent that knows that they hosted a party where somebody got hurt and died?
Mhm. Absolutely. I really appreciate sharing your story, Mike, as I'm sure some of that inspires you to make a difference in others' lives.
Definitely does.
I just think it's great that you came through it. I'm sure you know how difficult it is to treat a problem rather than prevent it.
Yep.
And so that's what we're all about, is preventing those issues in the first place.
Right.
So I'm just thrilled to be a part of this parent discussion on parents' perspective, and also a part of Speak, where that's what our mission is to make this a better community, a drug-free community to live, work, and play in. And I'm just encouraging other people to get involved, because we need grandparents, we need parents, we need aunts, uncles, community members, youth to be involved in Speak. We just look forward to hoping to in kind of just enlarge our reach a little bit and broaden our reach, so that we can keep everybody healthy and drug-free, and especially at this holiday time. We don't want tragedy. We don't want heartache. We want to prevent that for sure.
Yeah, so if you want to be a part of this, we again encourage you to comment, keep following us on Instagram, liking us on Facebook. We'll have opportunities to check your email, speak@stclaircounty.org. Amy mentioned the youth portion of it, and we absolutely would love to have your children be a part of this as well too. If any teens are watching this program, we want your perspective. This is really for you. Our goal is to make sure that young people have a say in as well in the choices that are going on in this county. We want to make sure that you're coming up with safe choices and well-informed choices as well. And just parents, understand that the behaviors that we show are behaviors that we pass on to our children. So if we're showing positive, healthy, law-focused behaviors, that passes off with our children. But if we're using choices that are inappropriate or are criminal or just problematic for our youth, same thing can happen. Make sure that you model for your children as much as possible the right choices, and keep any substances locked up when they're not being used, and monitor at all times. We'd rather have the children drinking punch and pop than we would anything alcoholic. So thanks for watching. And our next series will be December 30th. And then we'll be really rolling this whole thing out the first of the year, but we hope to see you on Wednesdays. Again, next one's December 30th at 6 o'clock. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great holiday season.
Thanks.